Bob Whitmore is in charge of OSHA's injury and illness record-keeping activities in the Office of Statistical Analysis since 1988 and was employed as an economist in the Bureau of Labor Statistics from 1972 until 1990. He has been the Department of Labor's expert witness on OSHA record-keeping litigation and member of the OSHA's significant case team, and has personally reviewed all the egregious and significant record-keeping cases since late 1986. He has obtained his B.S. degree in economics from the University of Baltimore in 1972, and he is speaking today on behalf of himself and not representing OSHA.
Before I get going, I would just like to say how proud I am to see so many members here today, and I want to say how much I appreciate your attendance and involvement. Chairman Miller, Ranking Member McKeon, and other dedicated committee members. My name is Bob Whitmore. I'm a Vietnam veteran with an additional 36 years of government service at the U.S. Department of Labor. I have directed the National OSHA Injury and Illness Record-Keeping System since 1988, and am the Department of Labor's expert witness for record-keeping litigation. I have been subpoenaed to testify today, and am accompanied by my counsel, Mr. Robert Selden of Robert C. Selden and Associates. On July 17th of last year, my OSHA director, Keith Goddard, placed me on paid administrative leave in a non-duty status 11 months ago. Therefore, at the outset, I want to make it very clear that I am here today representing myself as a concerned citizen, one with over 20 years of experience directly related to the subject of today's hearing. I am not here representing OSHA or the Department of Labor. I contend that the current OSHA injury and illness information is inaccurate due in part to wide-scale underreporting by employers and OSHA's willingness to accept these falsified numbers. There are many reasons why OSHA would accept these numbers, but one important institutional factor has dramatically affected the agency since 1992. Regardless of the political party, steady annual declines in the number of workplace injuries and illnesses make it appear that OSHA is fulfilling its mission. In 1992, Congress passed GIPRA. That holds OSHA accountable, and we're going to be judged by where these numbers go, thanks to GIPRA. All of us want to see a reduction in the number of workplace injuries and illnesses. However, this reduction must be the result of fewer injuries and illnesses actually occurring and not the result of falsified reporting. It is impossible to evaluate the effectiveness of any OSHA program if the data aren't accurate. Inaccurate data also make it harder to know how to protect American workers from real hazards. To understand how we got to this point, it is critically important to look at the history of the OSHA record-keeping system. That history can be broken into three segments. What I refer to as the taxi fare era began with the start of the record-keeping system in 1972 and continued through mid-1986. While citations for record-keeping topped the list of the most cited OSHA standard of regulation during this period, the fines in these cases were usually $100. Many of us refer to those fines as corporate taxi fare. From April 1986 to 1992, we entered what I term the egregious era. In April of '86, under the Reagan administration, OSHA issued its first ever $1 million fine to Union Carbide in West Virginia for inaccurate record keeping. During this period, I reviewed over 40 cases in which we applied the newly developed instance-by-instance penalty policy, allowing us to cite and fine the company for each violation of record-keeping rules. I now want to make the second most important point of my testimony. After we began vigorously enforcing OSHA's record-keeping rules in the Reagan administration, injury and illnesses went up from 85 through 92. I believe Dr. Rooser wrote an article in 88 and 91 with Robert Smith that addressed that very fact. Why? Employers may have many incentives not to record injuries and illnesses accurately. For example, many plant corporate managers, physicians, and supervisors receive bonuses based on their OSHA recordable rates. So when you enforce the record-keeping rules, employers will be more careful to record all injuries and illnesses, and rates will go up. The reported national injury and illness rates rose during this period, and the leading occupational illness collected in the system went from contact dermatitis to cumulative trauma disorders. Does this mean workplaces are becoming more unsafe? No, it just means that we had a more accurate picture of what was going on because the employers were actually reporting injuries and illnesses. If injury and illness rates go up when you enforce record-keeping rules, if you don't enforce the rules, will reported rates will go down? Will they go down? The answer is yes. And this is the most important point of my oral testimony. Not enforcing OSHA record-keeping rules mean many employers will not record injuries and illnesses affecting their workers. Do falling reported rates mean workplaces are actually safer and healthier? No. Estimates about how many injuries and illnesses go unreported range from 30 to 60%. I believe the final period from 1992 to the present demonstrates that when you don't enforce record keeping, reported injury and illness rates will fall. I call this period the report card era. Around 1992, Congress passed the GIPRA in an attempt to make agencies quantify their performance with objective findings. For the very first time, GIPRA made OSHA directly accountable for the rise and fall of the injury.
Mr. Whitmore, I'm going to ask if you can wrap it up, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The information, it doesn't take an expert to question these data when one looks at just a few examples. A steel plant in Kentucky reported no cases on their log for 2005. No cases, a steel plant. 2 other steel plants in Ohio and 1 in Pennsylvania had recordable case rates below 1. Total case rates below 1. Another steel plant in North Carolina, 2 poultry plants in Iowa reported days away rates of 0. And a large poultry processor in North Carolina had a DART rate of 1.1.